In the animal kingdom, every species have got a talent or gift that help him to survive and thrive in the wild. Some are gifted with horns, some are gifted with claws, some have this huge body, some can run really fast, some are adaptable to water, and the list goes on. But if we talk about man, our talent is our mind and our ability to think. Over the years, researchers have found that the survival rate of a creature is largely dependent on him knowing his talent and to the degree he uses it. So, if a creature acknowledges his talent and learns to use it to the fullest, then he will not just survive but he will thrive and lead his tribe. This same principle extends to human as well. Psychologists affirm that if a person is able to understand that his success is predominantly dependent on him and what he thinks shapes his future, then he can literally achieve whatever he wants in his life. Or in a more simpler words, he is already gifted with everything he needs to be successful. He just needs systematic thinking in place to make it a reality. Now, this idea has been echoed throughout the history from Stone Age to modern era, and we have found archaeological evidences indicating how great men of the past have always emphasized upon the fact that powers of mind are powers of man. But sadly, majority can't be bothered. One such prominent step was taken in 16th century, and it was the time when the term education was coined, marking the beginning of efforts to form a standardized education system. Finally, in 1796, a visionary named Horace Mann invented the concepts of school with the vision to help youngsters to think. But from its origin itself, it has failed in its intended purpose. Instead of fostering imagination and creativity, schools devolved into a competition centered around rote memorization, and this led to consequences. Youngsters struggle to find clarity about their talent and end up following the crowd. They pursue careers as doctors, engineers, and chartered accountants without truly realizing what they are really good at. After their graduation, situation becomes worse because even employers are not interested in knowing their true potentials, strengths, weaknesses, passions, and interests. All they care about is designating the vacancy in shortest time possible based on their educational qualification and past working experience. As a result, a lot of talent goes wasted. Youngsters are not happy because their talent are underutilized, and all this contribute to depression and emptiness in the world. People hate the job they are in. They always complain how their life is not working out, and still from somewhere they got this false hope that things will change by luck. So now that we have outlined the problem, let us explore the solution. But before that, let me introduce myself. Hello, my name is Vijay Sao. I am a data scientist by profession and teacher by passion. I am thrilled to welcome you to my YouTube channel Jazzstarx School, where we help you to think better about things that matters in your life with the help of data. So as we move forward, we will start by examining what exactly restricted our thinking and how we started developing clutter in our life. And then shall we dive into strategies to eradicate this clutter for better understanding. So in my opinion, there are three key major aspects of how we form this faulty thinking, and these are: number one, lack of awareness about how our mind works. From the moment we were born, we assumed that we are our minds. We fail to realize that our mind is our tool that we pick up and use for whatever tasks we choose. So we have full control over our mind and we have the power to accept or reject a thought. But due to poor understanding of this in our childhood, we accepted every thought that came our way from our family, friends, and loved ones. A point here I want to make is that all these thoughts didn't came from the experts of the field, but someone who know little about the topic. Till the time we could know it, we have already formed our belief system. We have developed strong convictions about weakly understood concepts. The real tragedy here is that we know nothing, yet we strongly believe that we know everything. And this has led to the clutter. Number two, early childhood conditioning. How we think is greatly influenced by a number of factors we had no control over. Some of these factors are the family we were born in, joint or nuclear, the parents we got, society we live in, friends we made, teachers we had, even religion, culture, ethics, country, government, and every little thing you can think of. Even all the circumstances you have been through or all the countless experiences that have touched you so far have shaped your thinking in some way that may or may not be idle. But one thing for sure, no one is born out of perfect conditioning, and every successful individual have learned to rise above their circumstances. A word of caution here is that all these little things that we pick up in those early days are incredibly powerful, and it will take a considerable amount of courage to challenge them. So the real power is not in believing your convictions, but in having the courage to challenge what you already know. Even it's safe to consider that 50% of what we know is not correct. And thus this again has led to the clutter. Number 3. Advertisements have changed the way we think. From the advent of newspapers and magazines in mid-16th century until today, TV commercials and social media advertisements have changed the way we think. We have started believing in quick fixes to a problem, and no one wants to remedy the long-term benefits by setting goals. Brands made us believe that one pill can make us healthy, one pill can make us sleep, but they don't tell its long-term implications over our body. No one wants to exercise, but everyone wants good health, and likewise they advertise. They tell people what they want to hear, not what they need to hear. Even nowadays, we have started celebrating overnight success. Today, you can find thousands of testimony over the internet of people claiming how they made $1 million in just a matter of months. But if we think fundamentally, how can a novice create such an enormous value in the marketplace that is backed by strong logics and strong moral ethics in such a short period of time? Trust me, it's not possible. But people with power and money have manipulated the masses in thinking like that to suit their own interests. They advertise what might not be necessarily true, but something that can increase their profit. They have convinced people that success is a short term affair, and even if someone tries to tell them the truth, he is dismissed as a person who has lost touch with the fast paced world. This again has distorted our perception of reality. So now that we have understood how we form this clutter, next we will study the ways to declutter it. So 5 steps to cut through the clutter for clear thinking and generating better ideas are: step number 1, have clarity of life to get clarity of mind. Clarity demands knowledge and expertise. You cannot expect clarity to come to you while you sit alone in a closed room and wait for that divine inspiration to fall upon you. That doesn't work that way. You need a lot of knowledge about something to gain clarity over it. But a problem here is that there is ocean of knowledge available and you can hold just a bucket of it. And that's why it's important for you to choose a niche based on your strength and weaknesses. Because once you choose your niche, now you can become expert in that and have clarity over it. And for clarity in other aspects of your life, you may seek guidance from experts of that field. Because to be practical, you cannot become expert in every field and thus you cannot gain clarity over everything all by yourself. You need experts for that. But finding a niche is a real task. It will take a lot of research, hard work, and self inspection to find a niche that is best for you. It took me 6 months to find my niche as a teacher and another 6 months to micro niche it down to a teacher in data science. I hopped from niche to niche month after month, finally selecting to that one niche that was best for me. And I hope the same amount of work and timeline for you to find your niche as well. Majority will not be able to find their niche because they don't want to put in the hard work it takes. Statistically speaking, majority will not be able to find that one thing they want to do it for their entire life and thus will fail to gain clarity over anything. But if you are serious about thinking clearly, then you need to choose your niche. Step number 2, clarity needs ideas of each other. Now that you have chosen your niche, it's time to find good teachers in that niche to set the flow of ideas. Now these teachers can be experts, coaches, influencers or enthusiasts of that field and you need to hear their thoughts, how they think, their stories, success stories, failure stories, especially their recommendation, what books they recommend, what other speakers they recommend and all the little things they have to offer. Now if you are someone who believes that you are self-sufficient and do not need these teachers, then thinking clearly is not the thing for you. Because you need to understand that every person has a single perspective of a particular thing. Only when he reads and listens to what others have to say can he develop multiple perspectives of that same thing. And these multiple perspectives help him to think from all directions, enabling him to think clearly and generate better ideas. So now if that's clear, let me tell you the greatest challenge of life. And the greatest challenge of life is finding good teachers for yourself. In my experience, out of every 100 teachers you will meet, only 2 will be exceptional that have the potential to uplift your life trajectory. And your main task is to find them. Find someone who was like you in the past and have now achieved what you want in your life. Start by watching TEDx video of your niche, search the speaker on internet, read his books, follow him on YouTube, watch his content, listen to his recommendation, what books he recommend, what other speakers he recommend, and that will give you a good starting point. For full 1 year, I wake up watching to a new video of a unique expert on the YouTube with the hope to find someone who was exceptional in his art. That method worked for me and I hope this will work for you as well. I have listed my teachers for your reference in the description below. These teachers are important to set the flow of ideas and even your best idea will come from them. Step number 3. Clarity requires a systematic plan. Now that you have your niche, you have identified your teachers, it's time to create a plan for systematic acquiring of knowledge. No telling you how vast ocean of knowledge is, and you can easily get lost if you don't have a systematic plan. However, to create this plan, you have two requirements. Number one, you need to be specific about where you are and where you want to go, or who you are and who you want to become in the next 10 years. Number two, you need these teachers who have already achieved what you want in your life. These teachers will help you to create the systematic plan so that you can reach your goals. And the strategy we will follow to create this systematic plan is called T approach. With T, I mean you need the both breadth of knowledge and depth of knowledge. Start by acquiring the broad overview of the subject, and during this time you can select on your micro niche. Once you select your micro niche, then you can have in-depth knowledge in that particular topic. Now there is nothing new in this method, and it has been around for ages. Even our education system works like that. Schools help you to think more about yourself so that you can find a niche based on your strengths and weaknesses. Colleges are more niche centric and they help you with teachers and a curriculum. In bachelor's you have the broad view of the field. During this time you can select on your specialty, and once you select your specialty, in master's you can have in-depth knowledge in that particular specialty. Here curriculum is same as your systematic plan. Now whatever name you want to call it, whether you say systematic plan, game plan, curriculum, roadmap or goal setting, these all are one and the same thing, and these help you with systematic acquiring of knowledge. Creating a systematic plan can be the most tedious task, but if you have the right teachers, it becomes the most easiest and simplest task of all. Step number 4. Clarity requires consistency. Now that you have your niche, you have identified your teachers, you have created a systematic plan, it's now time to consistently work on it. Now you will be requiring books and courses so that you can continuously learn, apply and create content over it every single day. Because that's the formula to become an expert, and that's how you can gain clarity over anything. Malcolm Gladwell popularized the idea of 10,000 hours of practice to become an expert in his book, The Outliers. I extend it further to 10,000 hours of learning, practicing and creating content to become an expert, because I don't want you to fall into the trap of Dunning-Kruger effect, where you tend to overestimate your knowledge. After watching few reels, videos or reading some blogs, it appears to us that we have enough knowledge about a topic, but in reality we have fallen for overconfidence bias and we are just overestimating what we already know. This has happened to me many a times. After reading a single book, it occurred to me that I have enough knowledge about the subject. After reading 5 books, I realized the vastness of the subject. And after reading 15 books, I realized the depth of the subject. How much I know, how much I don't know, and how far have science progressed so far in that particular niche. Now here I am not suggesting you to read 15 books on every topic, but your systematic plan will guide you with amount of knowledge you need to make good decisions in your niche. But the magic number that has worked for me so far has been 5 good books or 10 full-fledged videos. Here I also want to aware you about anytime you find yourself telling that you have enough knowledge about the subject, it's time to remind yourself that you may have fallen for overconfidence bias and you may be just overestimating your knowledge. Until you are pretty confident about how much you know and how much you don't know about a subject, there are high chances that you know nothing about it. Step number 5. Clarity requires the right mindset. Now that you have your niche, teachers, you have created a systematic plan and you are consistently working on it every single day, you now just need the right mindset to succeed. You need the right amount of expectations in a reasonable amount of time. Thinking clearly is like a muscle to develop, whether it's your physical muscle or mental muscle. It takes time to develop. You cannot expect your muscle to grow overnight. Ask a kid how much time it takes to build that muscular body, and he will prompt to tell you that it will take 5 years of consistency and dedication to build that kind of muscle. And it holds true for building your mental muscle too. I've been lied by so many professionals. They told me that 3 months are enough to learn to swim, 6 months are enough to learn to dance, and 1 year is enough to learn to play a piano. But I found out it was not true. To build any kind of mental muscle, it takes a minimum of 5 years. Whether you want to learn a sport, or you want to learn an instrument, or you want to build a high profitable business, or you want to land a high paying job, it will take a minimum of 5 years. And the reason for that is it takes time to build your reservoir of knowledge, your thoughts to multiply and compound, creativity to flow in, and build your own voice. And for the same reason, it takes a minimum of 5 years to hone your master's degree, because you need to complete your 10,000 hours to become an expert. Anything worthwhile takes time, and thinking clearly is no exception. Only with the right mindset you can expect to win at the game of clarity. Now that we have understood all the 5 steps to cut through the clutter for clear thinking and generating better ideas, let me quickly summarize it for you for your better understanding. Step number 1, you need to find your niche. Step number 2, you will be requiring teachers of that particular niche. Step 3, these teachers will help you to create your systematic plan. Step 4, you need to consistently work on that systematic plan. Every single day you need to learn, apply and create content over it to become an expert. Step number 5, you need the right mindset to succeed. You need to understand that from the day you choose your niche, it will take a minimum of 5 years to gain clarity over your field. So now if that's clear, let me make it very clear that thinking clearly is an endless journey. Our world is moving very fast and a lot is happening around us in every niche. Every single day, a lot of experimentations are being done, theories are being made, amended, a lot of books are being written, innovations are being made, conferences are being held, and if you don't keep a track of it, how can you expect clarity at that given moment of time? It's not possible. Thus, you need to understand that thinking clearly is not a destination to arrive at, but a never-ending journey to become better than you are today. Finally, this has bring us to the conclusion of this video. And I want to conclude this video by telling you that your superpower are your mind and your ability to think. Failing to understand is like you are unaware of your superpower and you will remain enslaved to it. You will always be controlled by your mind, not by your strength. And that's how we control these animals. We need to understand that our mind contains treasure beyond our imagination. And to unlock this treasure, we will require systematic study and our disciplined thoughts. Even today, the greatest mystery to our mankind is our mind itself. We tend to lose sight of how awesome, unbelievable, and mysterious our mind is. Our mind represents us hope and future, yet it is the last place an average person will turn to help for. So if what we think is narrow and limited, our life becomes narrow, limited, insignificant, and ridiculous. But in contrary to it, if what we think is big and positive, we start to attract abundance of opportunities you can't even imagine. But this is only possible when we free our imagination from our existing thinking patterns and we start thinking in new directions. Thank you. Thank you for watching this video. If you love my content and would like to support me, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and send this video to someone who may find it helpful.